Hi, my name is Vincent. I'm a psychology student at the KU Leuven, which is the Catholic University in Leuven in Belgium. I am in my second master year, or well, I'm going to my second master year because we're on summer break right now. As you can tell by that, I have quite some experience in the university field, in the educational field. Just wanted to make this small, quick video to give you a tip, kind of a way of using Notion, or you could do it in Microsoft Word if you prefer that, but I feel like Notion gives you a bit more of the options to actually organize it in a nice and insightful manner. So how to use Notion to create what I called a knowledge database, and I think that name is pretty descriptive of what I'm gonna tell you. I only started doing this last year, so in my 4th year of university already. I strongly advise you to do this from the start. It's gonna help you out a lot, and it helped me out already in this year, but if you start building it up from the first year, that's gonna be even better. Now for me, this is mainly focused on psychology, because that is of course the course material that I have to study. What I mean by knowledge database is that starting from this year, whenever we had a class on something like, for example, on a certain disease or a certain mental illness, I included it in the psychopathology tab right here. It's in Dutch for ease of use for me, but this says illness or syndrome. And so for every different type of mental disorder, I have a different page nested in Notion. Notion is free to use if you're a student, by the way. So if you go, for example, just the first one in the list, personality disorders. Here you get a little overview of the different kinds of personality disorders and where you order them in their 3 respective clusters. Again, it's all in Dutch, but the content is really not important right now, it's the structure. Then I have a page about personality disorders in general. So just for example, indication personality disorders in general. So indication, that is about treatment, that is about which treatment is advised. And here you can see different kinds of therapeutic treatments for all different kinds of personality disorders. If you do this, and this is the main premise of it, the main reason why you would use it, for every little aspect of knowledge that you create here, every little subheading or just every piece of information, include your source. Right now, right here, I just put the name of the class, that's fine. But if you really want to be even more efficient, for example, if you go into interventions, we have protocol treatments, which are like really, it doesn't matter. It just protocol treatments are called protocol because they follow a specific guideline most of the times in the form of different steps that you need to undertake together with your client. But just to give an example, this right here is an actual APA source, so it's formatted in terms of the American Psychological Association. And what that does is, this is something that you can use in your papers or whatever you need to do for school. And just including it with your Notion page, that's so handy. This, for example, is about the treatment of people with a panic disorder. For example, if I wanted to look at what they found in research, and I see here medication, so anxiety medication, antidepressants, and I can also see here that the combination of cognitive behavioral therapy and medication is better than keeping them separate, those two treatments. If I write a paper about panic disorder or I'm, for example, writing a report about a made-up client and I want to indicate what treatment I would advise for that client, I can just say, well, we know from research that, then this, and then I just go back to the main page for this topic. I can just straight up copy this, put it in the list down at the bottom of my task, and that's fine, the reference is handled, and that is gonna save you a lot of time. This page here with the different kind of syndromes, that's definitely the page where I spent the most time in, and it's a page where I have a lot of information stored. Let's say we go to anxiety disorders, for example, and we go back to the panic disorder. You can see a lot of different subpages as well. Here again, this is a specific reference to a class, but this time in APA format, and just a bunch of information about panic disorder. And we also have a link, because that's something you can do in Notion as well. It's a link to another page, and that other page is, as you can see here, it is nested in the symptoms page. Because a panic attack, that's just a symptom that can appear in multiple disorders. And then here we have some information about what a panic attack is. And most of my pages also include DSM criteria. So that's really the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. That is like a big book that contains all different kinds of criteria that psychologists and psychiatrists use to propose diagnosis. And here you can see all the different criteria that you can have. And I have that for most disorders. Another great thing about Notion, you can have backlinks as well, so we can go back to panic disorder. Here you can see those same criteria again, but this time for panic disorder and not just a panic attack. But The main premise of having a knowledge database is just really include everything that you think you might need later and try to keep it nice and organized. If I have to write a paper on treatment for personality disorders, I come straight to this knowledge database instead of having to look up all the different lesson materials again, looking up all the different articles again, or even looking for new articles. I can just come straight to my knowledge database to think about, yeah, which treatments were effective again. Now, some of these pages are of course still pretty empty. This is a bad example, but like for example, this just has one subpage and it's even just a link, you know? And that's because I just started making this last year. I firmly believe that if you really start creating a database like this from year one, you're gonna save yourself a lot of struggle, a lot of time, and it's gonna come in helpful later, even after when you already graduated, you know? It's gonna be great for you, I can assure you that. Now, I don't use Notion to study normally. I have Microsoft Word and I make my summaries for the different courses in that program. But what I do is after I summarized my college notes or my lesson notes, I copy them and I paste them into Notion, into the right heading. But I know a lot of people that do use Notion to actually study as well, so you can use it both ways. You can customize this any way you want. Notion has great customizability. You can change all these icons, you can change the background covers. For example, I can just press add cover and one will appear. You can change the different headings. You can, inside of a page, for example, you can also use all different kinds of colors, all different kinds of levels of headings. The possibilities are almost endless. It is gonna cost you some time, of course. You have to invest some time into actually putting all the information that you received throughout those years into Notion, but it's gonna pay off later, I can assure you. One more thing I forgot to mention, that's why all of a sudden I'm just wearing a t-shirt. Up here in the corner, you can press share. And what that does is you can share the page and all of its subpages with certain other users of Notion. So that's also very handy for things like this. Because for example, you could make sure that one friend A implements all information from course A into the database, friend B implements all information from course B into the database, and I think you get my drift. Working on something like this together can also really help you. But I would also totally understand if something like this, you want to keep it personal so that you know where everything is and that all the information is correct as well. Just wanted to mention that real quickly. Back to sweater wearing Vincent. So if you think this might be for you, this was just a short little video showing you a tip for university or even for your work. You can do it for whatever. Just if you need to have access to large amounts of information in your life and information that you have used in the past, you might need it back in the future. It's just a great system. You can do it whatever way you like. I find that this way with just all the little sub pages works best for me. It was just a small little video showing you one of the things you can do with Notion. You can of course use Notion for a bunch of other things too. Here for example, I use it to schedule in my YouTube uploads because I'm normally a gaming YouTuber. That's why this video doesn't look all that great. I normally don't make these kinds of videos, but just wanted to throw the information out there. You can use Notion, you can use whatever you want. Evernote or something is also possible. Hell, you could even do it on paper if you want, but just build up that knowledge database. You will be very thankful to yourself in the future. Or your future self will be very thankful to your past self. If you have any further questions about this, just ask me in the comments or something. If you have any advice or tips for me to build up a better knowledge database, definitely reach out. But it has definitely helped me in writing a bunch of papers already, and I hope you will try to indulge into a similar kind of adventure and you can reap some benefits out of it. Hope this helped, and good luck out there if you're starting your studies. Bye bye.